Today we're interviewing one of my favorite people, Tim Gavin. He was actually my boss when I was a pro skateboarder, and we're interviewing his new business partner, Donovan Healy, who's a savage in the real estate industry. Actually, the first time Tim saw him, fully fanned out. He's that big of a legend. We're gonna go over everything real estate. Is this the right time to buy a house? What happens if the market crashes? How do you build a team in this environment? And most importantly, how do you handle rejection? When people say no, how do you keep moving forward? I hope you enjoy this video. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you're notified for all our future videos. We'll see you soon. One, should I buy a house right now? And two, when's the market gonna crash? Those are the two ones. So why don't you start with, should I buy a home?
Well, I'm not. I think the second question is for Dionne Warwick, who, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But my answer to that is there's never the perfect time to buy a house. I feel like living in Los Angeles, which is, one of the best markets in the world, there's never a bad time to buy real estate. I feel like if you look at it from the standpoint of, hey, I'm going to wait a year. I think in a year from now, you're probably going to kick yourself and go, I should have bought a year ago. I would have had 10% more equity in my house or whatever it is. So, rates are high. I get that. Everyone got spoiled on historically low rates. I mean, is that ever going to come back? I mean, you probably know better. But I think where the market is trending, from what I hear from lenders, we might level off first quarter next year about 5.5%. So is it the right time to buy today? Yes, I think it's less competitive. You could refinance down the road, call it 6 to 8 months. And I feel like in certain markets, you can find good deals right now. It's, a year and a half ago, you're in a bidding war with 10 other buyers. I feel like the market, or, in those days, I feel like you probably bought 5 to 10% higher because you had to compete. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, is it the right time to buy? For them a year and a half ago, sure, they're going to eventually gain that equity back. And they probably avoided paying rent. So that was a long answer. The short answer is right now is the right time to buy. If you're asking me that question 6 months ago, it's the right time to buy. If you ask me 6 months from now, it's the right time to buy. Right. There's never a perfect time to buy.
So Donovan, I don't know why we have this just feeling that when things are expensive, there has to be a crash.
Yeah.
Does there have to be a crash?
No, there's basic supply and demand economics. There's limited supply of homes in LA. There's a lot of people leaving LA, but there's a ton of people still coming to LA. Granted, there's things going on with the industry strikes. That's probably going to resolve sometime next year. So you have that kind of throwing a curveball in the local market for the LA market. But there's more opportunity in the down market for long-term equity. Real estate is always a long-term play, So yeah, you have a little bit negotiating power because sellers are feeling the stress right now. But for the right home, if a good house comes to market, there's still bidding wars because we have a lot of sellers on the sideline that aren't willing to abandon their, sub 3 rate, right? So the supply-demand equation hasn't really changed, right? So I think that's where we're at. I mean, if you're able to find the right home and pull the trigger on it and afford it, then temporarily date the rate and, refi down the road if the house is right.
What is a crash? You know what I mean? Like, how would you...
Well, yeah, that's an interesting one because...
Like, what is the definition of a real estate crash anyways?
Well, I think most people actually look at a crash as anything north of 10%, a 10% correction, right? I think for us, or at least for me, I'll speak for my generation, all we know is 2008, right? We know an economic downturn as the great financial crisis. So I think we've been programmed to think any downturn is, the worst since the Great Depression.
That's funny because I bought my house in 2007.
Yeah, I bought mine in 2005.
I mean, I've done very well at my house.
So I think that's an interesting point. Like to the one you made, my outlook on homeownership has always been considering you can afford it. If you're willing and comfortable being in that house for the next 10 years, then just buy it whenever. It doesn't really matter, right? Because that's enough time for you to really make it through any type of downturn anyway. Right. The part on 2005, 2007, if you would have bought your house 2 months before the crash at the very, very top, and you still owned it, you're doing pretty well.
Exactly. That's my point.
So I think it's sometimes we get stuck on the short-term, mindset of if I invest it today, what's it worth tomorrow, as opposed to thinking kind of decades out.
Yeah.
And there's protection in that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's people that it's similar to like buying stocks. It's like my father-in-law, who he's great, but he's never going to sell his portfolio, right? But he's always going, the market's down. I'm like, what does it matter to you? You're not going to sell it. Right. You know what I mean? So when people look at the value of their home, either on Zillow or whatever it is, they're like, oh, my property, it's down a little. It's like, what does it matter? Right. You're not going to sell it today. You're not going to sell it when it's down. So, eventually you're going to gain that equity back.
So is it fair to say for a real estate agent or somebody who's just in the sales side of real estate, is it harder today than it was last year or the year before or the year before?
To sell real estate?
Correct.
Well, I'll answer first and I'll let Donovan chime in. I mean, I am a GED graduate who dropped out of high school when I was 15 or 16 years old to pursue skateboarding professionally, which I'm totally grateful for skateboarding because it was the one thing I was passionate about it. That's what I knew. I knew that's what I wanted to do. You get people that go through high school, through college, and they still don't know what they want to do. Right. But that's what they were told was the right thing to do. For me, it's like, with all that being said, I'm not the greatest tester. Whatever it is, I passed the test. I feel like I know what I'm good at. And I've been very fortunate to establish a network of friends and family. And so I've been very fortunate. But you're asking, is it difficult for an agent today to get licensed and sell real estate in this downward market? I mean, my answer would be yeah. I mean, I don't want it to be discouraging or a deterrent for people who want to sell real estate because I think, if that's what you want to do and you're passionate about it, you can do it. But, it's been tough. I mean, someone like Donovan, who I've looked up to personally, because, as us skateboarders, we're always looked up to. I met him 6 years ago, and I looked up to him. But, everyone's business is down 40%, 30, 40%. Some less. We're fortunate. Ours isn't as down as bad. But we grind, you know what I mean? And we've been doing it for long enough. But I think the better way to answer this is if someone got licensed a couple years ago, yeah, they would have had it easier.
The reason why I'm asking is because, and this would be a perfect one to move in for you. I think this is a harder moment in time to do business for a lot of people, right? But I actually think this is like the best time to get started. Yeah. So what I want to ask you is, for the people that are coming into selling real estate, or even those who started 6 months ago, and it's just they're hearing about all these record-breaking numbers and just big volume, and now they're going, I'm having a hard time selling anything. Do you agree that this is a good time to come into the market, and how could you encourage them so that they can stick through it and ultimately build a long, successful career?
So, okay, now is if you're a brand new licensed agent and you just passed your exam, you sign up at a brokerage, you sign up at a team, now is the perfect time to actually hone your skills. Yeah. It's not 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where real estate came super easy. Even the seasoned real estate professionals, you didn't even have to spend the necessary money on the house for marketing. You slap it on the market. People were just buying because rates were so low. So it made it easier for the agents that got into the business 2-3 years ago. But if you're getting into the business now, you're going to have the more solidified skill set to actually propel yourself when the market shifts, right? If you learn now and hone your skills, then you'll be that much better than the agent that got into the business 3 years ago, because they didn't learn the necessary skills, right? And yeah, there's real estate takes time to develop this gift to gab and this expertise and sales and everything around the whole process of real estate. It's a long-term career choice. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's not the scripted TV shows. It doesn't happen as smooth as people's perception is, right? Real estate comes with all these obstacles that you have to overcome. That's why I believe teams are the future of real estate, and any newer agents coming onto a team, they can utilize their team leader and develop those skills. Some people have it, some people don't. Not everybody's gonna survive in real estate. I think it's like 80% of new agents, don't necessarily make it in real estate, but then you see these few that come in and you go, that person has it. It's persistence, it's dedication. Yeah, people have LA contacts, and I grew up far away from Los Angeles. I came here with no contacts, so I had to go always back to basics in my business. The core real estate direct to seller approach, which has always worked for me.
Like knocking on doors and
Knocking on doors, buzzing gates, direct mail, having serious conversations, walking your dog around the neighborhood, knowing the inventory, knowing the different estate neighborhoods. Area knowledge is huge. I know every house in certain pockets, and I've been in every house. But if you're a new agent, you just got your license, and you're learning in this market, the 2023 market, which is unlike any other market we've ever seen. Everybody has their own opinion on it. I think it's incredible right now, the opportunity. But the agents that learn now and really put in the time to develop their skills, those are the ones that are really going to have success down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on the opportunity as well. I mean, we're going after it also. Yeah. That's a perfect segue actually into this question. So you guys each had individual businesses going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You each have your own teams, your own followings. I've known you longer than I have you, but even when I met you a couple weeks ago, it was like really apparent. You're a personality. You bring people in. You've got the gift of gab. Exactly. So, why come together? Why sacrifice or let go of you having 100% of the earning potential versus you? What were you guys thinking?
Look, we were both. I knew. I got to a level selling real estate now for 8-9 years that I wanted to take the next step in real estate. My business has always been predicated of working with friends and family, referral based only. But I want to start. I'm so inspired to take it to the next level, and forever I've been looked up to by kids or whoever it is being a professional athlete. One day I saw him in 2016. I was like, oh my God, Donovan. I was like a fan. I'm fanning out on real estate, dude. So that was the one thing. We kept in contact. When I'm not around with my book of business, I have to trust who I delegate it to, who I leave my clients with, who I value wholeheartedly. Because like I said, they're my fam, they're my friends, they're people I care about. I'm so invested into these deals because they matter to me. So I know this is my guy and I know I can leave it with him. That's one. Two is, real estate, I was always reluctant to really dive into as a long-term career because, it has a certain stigma to it. For me, it was a Century 21 type dude, but it doesn't have to be that, you know what I mean? So I think being authentic, being us is cool. And this dude is like us. When you first met him, it was like, boom, he's one of us. So I think for me, that's what it was. He has a great book of business. He's somebody I can trust with my clients, and what we're doing together, I'm super excited about, just going after bigger stuff. And he's going to help me, and I'm hopefully helping him, and it's been great.
Yeah, it's to take two established agents that have teams that are their single team lead and kind of merge. You have to let down your boundaries when you partner with somebody. For me, it was an easy decision because Tim's energy, I feed off energy. I feed off the energy of my clients. I feed off the energy of agents, the competitive nature, the inspiration that you find in the LA market. Tim and I have kind of been on like autopilot and, kind of cruising and, with the free time that we have, and our business keeps rolling no matter what. But teams are the future, and having a partner that, you can trust and that is motivating you daily and you have a great rapport with. Tim and I have known each other a while, but I never thought of it until recently. partnering with somebody. And I think if you stop evolving and you don't reinvent yourself, then things become stale. And real estate's a little cheesy, It's always been a little cheesy. Bus bench ads, done all that stuff in the past. I've done the billboards, I've done you name it, right? But at the end of the day, like I feel if we change the game a little bit and we bring an element of cool, an element of like a different process to the real estate process is kind of, a lot of people don't want to go through the normal process of listing their house. So we can do it in a different way where we make it as easy as possible on our sellers and we have this whole network behind us. But we're also only recruiting like amazing people with great energy. And the team is so solid. And I think Tim and I have never been so motivated since we started.
It has that level of motivation too. But, in terms of the logistical stuff, having a team and a team this size, the moment we combine, there's 8 listings, How do you service all those listings the right way? Yeah. Well, you got to have bodies to do that and a team. And
staff.
So, you got to have the staff. So for me, and I know I can speak on his behalf, when you're elevating your business, you need to have the infrastructure to facilitate that. Right.
I just had to say, like, we came from nothing, right? Like
similar story.
Like we don't come from like a trust fund or a wealthy family or
I wish
we didn't
my
have.
dad was going to.
I don't have Neither Tim or I have a plan B. Like I can't call home and be like, I need this fund to start this up. Like we've made it so that we own homes on our own. We're in the real estate game. We have skin in the game. We're going to be flipping properties. We have this newfound inspiration, which I think is just part of the evolution and the process of how you change up the game a little bit. And I've never been more excited about real estate now than I've ever been. So.
Yeah. Lastly, too, and we're running along on this question, but real estate can get boring. You're doing the same thing. Right. You're going house to house, and that's why selling a house like this. Our clients Hollis and Jordan, they're brilliant to work with because they make great houses that inspire us, and they're fun to sell because we're excited to sell them, but then you go to the next deal and it's deal after deal after. So for me, it's really important to have fun doing what I do every day. Right. It's like when we're out skating together with the boys, It's a lot more fun doing that than by yourself.
Right. I think having different styles. Tim handles clients different than I handle clients. And I think kind of merging that as far as like how we advise people has really benefited us already. Yeah. In the last 4 weeks, we're learning from each other just because we're working so closely now.
Did you guys have any clash of culture with anyone in the team?
No, not at all. I think it clash of culture meaning
like you've got 2 personalities, right?
Yeah.
And 2 ultimately different ways of leading, potentially.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, but usually, how you lead a team is probably different than Donovan or myself or, any of the guys. When you brought 2 teams to one, was there any like having to get used to the new way of business? Was there any change?
Well, Tim kind of absorbed some of my staff that I had, and then Tim has.
Which is great because you cut costs.
Tim has like his resources all around him and different. So there wasn't really a clash of culture, but it definitely shook up the team a little bit for a moment. And then once you meet Tim, you fall in love with Tim. Like I was telling you, Tim walks into any room, you instantly warm up to Tim. So that's that thing that you have that sets people apart in the real estate industry, is that likability. And Tim and I both have that. Yeah. But when I feel that, that's a rare thing for me as far as like what other agent would I merge my business in? Because coming from you put in all these years, I've been in this game 14 years, had Donovan Healy Group, have my agents under me, but just changing it up and evolving has really lit a fire under me. I mean, I'm excited.
2 different styles too, because he likes to spend money. Not that I don't like to spend money, but having run businesses in the past, it's like we're running this thing like a business now. Right. We're looking. But what's great is we've added just by doing this for 2.5, 3 months now, we've added so much staff. We have a director of operations. We have in-house marketing. We have transactional coordinators who do all the paperwork. We have an individual who, that's a whole other interview in itself, how he got this guy, a cold caller, who called Donovan and managed to keep Donovan on the phone long enough. He didn't realize he was calling a freaking world-class real estate
This guy
agent.
is the #1 cold caller in the world.
We just hired him.
And he's a nothing but professional over the phone.
He's great.
So it reflects our business and us. It's a
Yeah.
good reflection of us because people hate being.
But these are all additional expenses, right? As we build this thing, it's almost like,
Okay.
you know.
I want to touch on that because I think that's good. When you're building something, what have you learned to separate spending and from investment, right? Like spending money on unnecessary things is spending money. Putting money into building a team and marketing, this is an investment you're making.
Well, look, in any, you know, and what Donovan's big on that he's teaching me is, you know, the power of words and stuff. So now I'm very conscious of what I say. But for me, you know, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. In any business, right? That mentality goes with when you're doing your taxes, what can I write? Whatever it is, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. What we're doing is a little uncomfortable for me, which is we're spending a lot of money right now. But in this market, what we're doing by making these investments into our business is we're really setting ourselves up for great success early next year or end of this year, whatever it is. But you know, it's uncomfortable for me to spend to build this the way we are, you know, because we are investing into it significantly. But at the end of the day, I believe in it. When he said, Kirk is his name, Kirk Shaw, and hopefully Kirk watches this, but Kirk is he's a star at what he does. But we invested into Kirk, and we're going to get significant ROI if you want to look at it from that standpoint. You know what I mean? Yeah. Significant. He's bringing
but also
hot leads every day.
Because
you know,
real estate is always volume.
Right.
So it's all about having as many listings as possible so the team has more opportunity. But it's also about freeing up our time. Right. You know, Sid Leibovich, who's head of Rodeo Realty, where I first started, always stressed to me, and Sid is a legend in the business, incredible guy. He always stressed to me that like your time is the most important thing. So when Tim and I have that more free time to just go after our business, then the rest follows. Right. Our success is assured. Like we can't fail. We're too good at this. I've been in too many homes and I'm too excited about real estate that like the enthusiasm just comes through and people pick up on that. Sellers pick up on that.
Yeah.
You know, it's super important.
And you know what, I'll add on to what you just said. And we talked about this last time. Reebok and Nike. And Reebok and Nike battling it out, right? Until the big recession in the 70s or 80s?
The 70s, the original, yeah.
And Reebok did what every single business does. They pulled back expenses, pulled back marketing. Marketing is, that's right, marketing is usually the first one they pull back, right?
Yeah.
Nike tripled down. Bo Jackson, MJ, just everything on blast. Yeah. And that's when you saw Nike start making those big leaps above Reebok, and Reebok has never been able to catch them since. Right. So, you know, the importance of investing in your future, and two, you guys are investing at a time where people are pulling back. Correct. This is where the magic's made. Absolutely. Ultimately.
Yeah. I think just like we talked about agents getting into the business right now, and it being the perfect time to learn the business and the skill set, I think it's the perfect time to build a team as well, because we're in a you know, a bear market, right? So bear markets don't last as long as bull markets. So when the market shifts around and we have this established team and the marketing is in place and every homeowner that has any significant property in the area is well aware that this is a team I would list my home with, then you know we're going to propel ourselves even further.
That's right.
You know,
and I think it's like, you know, we always sit here and talk about like the bottoms, like where's it going to hit the floor? We spend so much time talking about that, not realizing when it hits the bottom, it happens so fast, and the rebounds already happen while we're still talking about the bottom.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So I think, you know, you need to be mindful of the fact that things move much quicker than we realize. Right.
Yeah.
That's first. I would say second on just the idea of team, and this is one thing that I struggle with, I think, being a pro skateboarder.
Well,
because
it's amazing that you have all these questions off the top of your head.
Well, I mean, it's
That's a great interviewer.
no, but listen, this is what's interesting. As a pro skateboarder, we did everything just us. It was like, what can I go do? And I didn't have to rely on having.
Yeah, it was an individual
thing, right? Yeah. Then when you step into business, that's actually really damaging, because you touched on time. We only have so much time in a day, right?
Yeah.
And so we hit the ceiling really quick and go, how is everyone else doing all these big things? They have the same 24 hours that I have, right? Yeah. It's building teams, the importance of that, right? What I want to ask you, because you brought up, or Tim brought up, that you're big on what you say and what your words mean, right? What I'm seeing right now, I think, maybe more with Gen Z, something like the early millennial, is just this like, it's almost like this idea of like all the like money I could make is gone. That was 2 decades ago. I missed my moment, and it's almost like this disappointment that like what was the American dream is gone for me, right? The question I want to ask you on value of words, one, is that true? And 2, what is the outcome going to be for somebody who's telling themselves, I'll never have it, that passed, that ship has sailed?
Okay, so where do we go with this?
First off, kids, as Gen Z, is there no opportunity in front of Gen Z? Let's start with that.
No, everything relies on your belief system, okay? I have been fortunate enough to learn quantum physics. People talk about the law of attraction, all this stuff. That just touches on the surface of it, intentions, affirmations, all this stuff. If somebody, like you just mentioned, is telling themselves this story of the worst possible outcome, that this is how things are, and they're speaking it into the universe, then that's the reality they're gonna sit in. It's important that you still your mind, you meditate, and you focus on abundance, and you focus on the future and the vision of the future. And this is how you actually manifest the reality you want. I've manifested my house, my cars, my snow bikes, my wife, everything. I've manifested my entire reality based off my belief system. Your beliefs create your expectations create the quantum field around you to collapse. So the person that's telling this story about all the negative, about the worst possible outcome, and focusing on lack all the time, what they don't have. A lot of times I tell my team, and I even tell Tim this, I'm like, stop saying the words need, want, or trying, because the message you're sending to the universe is that you don't have it. You don't have it, and you keep pushing it away.
I'm in the process.
I'm in the process of when I'm currently working towards, right? So you always have to treat your energy field around you so that you allow possibilities to flow towards you and you feel it. Everything is vibration. And I learned that a long time ago. I used to only specifically drop direct mailers to sellers at specific mailboxes, because I believe that if I put the letter in that mailbox, then I'm getting calls and I'm getting leads, right? And you asked me last time we talked, you were like, so if you lost everything tomorrow, what would you do, right? What would you do to get yourself back to a financial position? And I would go back to direct mailers to sellers in the manner that I do it, because I believe in it. And I know if I get inbound leads, it's only a matter of time before I turn those to listings. Right. So it's back to the basics. But there's other agents around that I've turned on to this, and Tim knows of them, that have kind of run with the energy and the quantum physics side of things. But literally, we are living in a field of infinite possibilities. Right. So that's my love language, right? Is like where everything is energy. So
so I got a good one for you. It's just interesting hearing you say that. I have a buddy, Steve Weatherford, and every time I'm talking to him, he's like, what are you doing today? Oh, I got to go pick up this. I got to go pick up that. And he always says, you get to pick that up. Not you have to pick that up, right?
Yeah, he's
but
right.
What I want to ask you, so let's say you're 24 years old. Is that when kids graduate, 24? I skipped that, apparently.
High school
you're
or
college. 24 years old,
21,
right?
22, yeah.
You just went, maybe it is 22. You graduate, right?
Yeah.
You're now going into the workforce. You've got student debt. You're hearing what culture's telling you, which is, the future is dark.
Yeah.
And somebody just happened to hear what you just said.
You got to block out all the noise.
So for that 22-year-old that's struggling with the future looking dark, what steps can they take to start this process that you're talking about?
literally log on, go listen to some Wayne Dyer videos, right? Go on YouTube and focus on anything energy. Practice meditation and focus on the future and the vision of that future and hold it so deep and vivid in your energy field that you feel it. And then that's how you attract things. Block out all the fear machine. We have so much
Negative
we have
news.
so much just weird energy coming at us, you know, and even I take it on too, because, you know, and my heart goes out to everybody in Hawaii right now, because just tragedy, and it's so sad to watch, but I almost have to like meditate after, because
what
to
is that
send
feeling
them,
it
to
gives
send
you,
them
bro?
love,
Yeah.
right? Because we're all connected, right? There is no such thing as separatedness. We all think we're all on our own soul's journey, but everybody, young, old, no matter what, if you block out the noise, kind of put on your tunnel vision and stay in this energy pocket, right? That just, it focuses on all the abundance, all the possibilities of what's out there, then you can overcome any of the perception of like, oh, this is so hard and I'm never gonna own a home and the American dream is so far out of reach, right? And interest rates are so high, or like your boomer dad is like in there bitching at the television or something, right? You have to, the older generations are toxic in some ways, where they're stuck in their mindset. We're all just programmed, right? But if you break free of that and you allow just this other universe to kind of transpire around you, then anything is possible. Literally anything is possible. And you have to almost practice it. Like Kobe Bryant used to practice every day, no matter what. You have to practice quantum physics. You have to change your belief system and your habits of thinking so that it propels you out of that state of lack. You know, because when you focus on lack, you just create more lack.
Right. Coming from the skate industry, and now you. Coming from the skate industry, which there's not really a lot of money. People, you know, we're in a, $6 million house right now. This seems like a different world, right?
Right. Unattainable for the skate.
Unattainable, right. So you going, you know, skate industry, you started a business that was freaking humongous. Now you're, you know, selling really, really large homes. What is one thing that maybe you went into this industry with a skate kind of view that was just completely shattered, that you went, that was actually wrong. Like, this is actually how it is. Was there any of those kind of concrete ideas?
Yeah. This is actually really fun. There's a lot, you know, from skateboarding, you can relate to this, when you're trying something over and over again. Before I say this, it's like my son right now who's getting everything so easily. You know what I mean? Whether it be monetarily or... There's not a better feeling in the world when you earn something that you worked so hard for, right? So in skateboarding, when you're constantly trying that same trick, and you're a Virgo, same birthday, August 29th, whatever.
Oh, that's right. You guys have the same.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So, but we're, you know, we have that trying something over and over again, but when you finally do it, that sense of accomplishment, fulfillment, and that high that you get, there's nothing that no money could buy that. But it's the same thing with real estate. There's a lot of fun in it. The art of negotiation, finding the right house, being in these great houses, working with somebody you like, inspiring our team to do better, giving them and sharpening their tools so they can be better. I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it really has been. Are there days where it's not fun? Yeah, that's anything though. So yeah, I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do. I just thought it was something that, you know, you could not have a boss. I never wanted to have a job.
Yeah.
You know, and you could make good money, but yeah, I didn't think I would have as much fun as I have doing it.
For the person who struggles hearing no or rejections, maybe struggles with rejection, can you talk about maybe some things that you've learned along the way to, you know, when somebody says no to you, it doesn't stop you in your tracks and allows you to keep moving forward?
So I used to sell home remodeling before selling.
That's not an easy thing to say.
And you would hear, you would want to hear no.
This dude is different from, he came from Boston back east on his own. You know, has nobody.
Yeah, so I used to sell vinyl replacement windows and exterior elastomeric text coat. right? So
Started to
stucco
laugh.
jobs,
I
like
don't know why I
we would
laughed.
coat your house for 25, 30 grand. We'd do all your windows for 35,000 or whatever. But I learned the core of sales so that when everybody has to feel like they're getting a deal, right? And I used to always want to hear no 3 times because I would look for the no's. And then I would figure out how to adjust my sales pitch to turn that to a yes. But the no for me, one, you gotta have thick skin. You gotta have doors slammed in your face. You gotta be able to work endless hours. You gotta work on the weekends. You can't, real estate is not all easy. You're not just showing homes and then it just happens. See, occasionally you get lucky and you do get a deal like that. That's the beauty of LA real estate, right? But no, for anybody getting into this business, get used to hearing no. Get used to hearing F you or this, get used to all that. All the rejection you can handle, it's coming. No matter what level you're at.
It's hard to have an ego in
top
this
of the
business,
top.
for sure.
The most successful brokers get fired off listings, and then somebody takes on that other listing, and then it's just part of this industry. But I always wanted to hear no. And I like the challenge of hearing the no because then I see if I can flip it to a yes.
It's interesting just saying that because you're not dreading the no. If you're
I'm excited
about
about
it
the
doesn't
no.
have the sting that maybe it should have if you're trying to avoid it.
Oh, the no is just an objection,
Right.
and you have to be able to handle objections. And the no is something that you want to anticipate and you want to hit that wall, right. But you can't let that discourage you. You can't just go, if you shut down, you hear no, and instinctually your subconscious, you're like, no, that's not gonna happen. No, you have to have that killer instinct in you to go, no, why? I understand, and counter them. Right. I used to do a cool down after selling a $30,000 window job. And then if you didn't sit with the people for 30 minutes after they signed the contract and you didn't continue that rapport with them, we used to call it the cool down. That they would cancel the contract before you got back to the office. Oh. If they signed the paperwork and then you leave and you didn't do the cool down, you knew that you didn't do the 12th step of the in-home sale process, and that's why they canceled. It's like if you ran out the door to your car and then the people look at the contract they signed, they were like, what did I just get bamboozled into? They're like, what? What is this? No, but if you hang out with them and you keep building the rapport,
right.
Then they don't cancel the contract.
We're gonna end on deep.
They're not hard. Deep.
Deep. Not hard. Deep.
Okay.
You have kids, right?
No kids.
No kids yet.
Just
okay.
No kids.
So my
Well,
question.
he's got furry kids.
No kids in the books for me.
Okay, so for when you have kids, if when, and for you, so you'll go up second with this one. Would you prefer your kids to have an easy life, or would you prefer your kids to have a life of adversity, and why?
This isn't a question for me though, because my wife and I are not planning on having kids. So it's life by design for me.
This is going to Tim.
So Tim,
take
this away.
I'm living this question right now.
That's a perfect question then.
Yeah, because I didn't have. It wasn't really hard, but it wasn't great either. So, I always said, when I have kids, I wanted it to be different for them. So it's hard to have the balance. One, as you know, as a parent, it's not easy. You can't be the perfect parent, but you definitely don't want them to struggle. But at the same time, at the end of the day in life, there's some struggle. So you're setting them up for failure. If you keep giving and giving and giving, thinking that's their perception on life, it's really, this is easy, it's gonna be. So that's a tough one, I can I cop out and just say a balance of both? I mean, because truly, I don't want them to struggle, but I don't want them to be naive thinking, there's handouts in life. Right. What's funny is my son is starting to take interest in what I do. But we would like him to finish. He goes to a great high school, Chaminade, and he plans on going to college. These are all things I didn't do, and my trajectory and my path it was different, but there was a lot of luck involved. Right. So much luck. So is he going to have that same luck? I don't know. I'd rather have him set himself up you know, and get the education and learn, and then have some options. But little adversity.
You're tough on them. You're tough on them. You're tough on them in the right ways. But you go to Tim's house, he's the coolest dad ever. Like the kids, everybody's happy. His wife's incredible. His house is incredible.
Very
like
lucky.
it's
Very lucky.
it's unlike parenting that you normally see. Because I'm in a lot of homes, but then I go to my business partner's house and I'm like everybody's as cool as they can be over here.
Yeah. No,
And
we're
he
lucky,
lights
man.
up around them. Like he feeds off that energy for the kids, which is beautiful. So I feel like I got kind of,
all
I'm in the family now.
Yeah.
So it's,
He's got kids through me.
Boys, thank you
That
guys.
was good. Thank you. That was fun.
thank you.
That was fun.